grateful to God, and we're alive and we're here.
Yep.
It's your show,
Yep.
Real Deep Convos, and my name is Praise for Woolwear.
And my name is Adiola Kingsley James. So
Okay.
thank you all for joining us today. How was your day? Let me start by asking that question. Do you want to share how your day has been, what you've been up to? If by any chance you have listened to the other shows that we've had, is there anything that you have picked up? Is there anything you want to share with us? Is there any experiences you would like to share, or any tips or any diamonds you would like to share with us today? We have been talking about abuse for the last couple of weeks, and last week we started to talk about getting your power back, and we talked about, using that word happy, but happy was an abbreviation that meant something. Is somebody sharing their day?
Yeah. Akinola King is saying my day has been good, quite tired though. I mean, not just you.
Sending you hugs and kisses.
Yeah. I mean, if you live in Lagos, you deserve
you
all the
understand?
accolades.
Exactly. I mean, for you to survive in Lagos, you can survive anywhere in the world.
I saw a tweet today, and the guy was saying that, the guy's in London, and he was saying that, the cold is too much, and London is very boring, that his whole spirit is calling him to come back to Nigeria, Lagos especially.
He should
So
come.
someone responded to him and said, there's the evil spirit that is evil spirit in you that is pushing you to come back to Lagos.
Lagos is not that bad. I feel, I don't want to say I feel sad, because I don't feel sad. I just marvel at why people think Nigeria or Lagos isn't working. And I know certain things can make us, dampen.
Well, when you look at the gridlock in Apapa, for example,
Oof.
I read it just before we came on here, and I couldn't believe what I read. And when you look at what the hours you have to spend to go to the island,
I know, I'm back.
And back, and your day is totally gone. I went for a friend's 50th birthday today, and I was supposed to go for the reception, but church service dragged till about 12:30.
Wow.
And reception is a Kate Legusi.
Which
So
is
I started
down.
thinking, if I go this way, I won't even make it back on time.
time.
So, but it's not like that in some other countries where you could literally predict. Okay, someone is also saying, Daniel Apata, my day is about to start. Okay, 2 hours. Daniel is a radio presenter, so he's just about to.
Get on air.
We call him the love doc, the only love doctor. So
wow.
it's about to go on here. So we know.
Hi,
Daniel, love you.
Hi, Daniel. I hope you have a wonderful show.
Yeah. He always does. He kills it every now and then.
I need to look out for him.
Oh, yeah.
More. I like love.
No, he comes here all the time.
I love
Daniel
love.
As the ultimate blunt love doctor, very,
Nice.
very, very straightforward guy.
Sweet.
Yeah, and someone I love so much. Okay, so it's but we just hope that things get better.
Yeah, isn't that a better place to stay in?
Well, it's a better place to stay. if you're thinking of life for yourself, because I can actually blank out and
things that are
focus
happening.
my mind and see what I want to see.
Yes.
I have that power.
Yes,
I can do that.
but not everybody
But
can.
then when you now look around you so if you talk your reality, because your reality is what you feel, which is what is in your mind. If you talk your reality, people are looking at you.
What's wrong with this woman?
Are you okay? Are you
in the same level that all of us are
you
in?
get so somehow you are forced to tone it, and which is not also a good way to live.
I don't tone it down.
So
I'm unapologetic about what I see and what I say. Now my husband tells people my wife is an inspirational speaker. Just leave her. Like, we get to a point where people are saying things that I say, I don't see things going bad, because no matter what, things will always work out for me.
Oh yeah.
And they're like, in this same Lagos, I'm like, yes, this same Lagos that people are complaining about is the same Lagos I will thrive and succeed exceedingly and abundantly.
Yeah.
So there's no, and I'm not trying to play with it and say, oh no, let me try and sound. No, I don't talk like that. I don't think like that, and nobody's going to make me do that.
Good.
Regardless of who it is. So guys, it's up to you. It's up to you to see what you want and live what you want.
Yeah.
You have a choice. So we're talking about happy, and if anybody remembers what happy stood for, if you don't, I'll remind you, because I'm nice like that. Happy stands for, the H stands for heart, the A stands for ability, the first P stands for personality, the second P stands for passion, and the Y stands for yesterday. And that's, I mean, if you can find your happy place, then you can begin to get your power back. And you need to find out in your heart what comes for you, or what you feel, or one of the things that you're easily drawn to, one of the things that resonates with you, and then your ability. What's the first thing that you would do, or what's the one thing that you would do that you don't even need to be paid for? If they wake you up in the morning now and say get up and go, that's what you're going to do. Your personality, what are you, who are you, do you know your personality type? You can reach out to us and we can share.
Okay, Daniel is saying many thanks, sir. My wife is just reminding me that I am blessed because I work at times where I am not bothered by traffic and all the shenanigans on the road.
I know,
You're
Daniel,
blessed.
Daniel, it's okay.
You're a witch.
Don't make us
He goes
feel
for
bad.
meetings at night.
Don't make us feel bad. And then your passion. What are you passionate about? What gives you momentum? What is there in your spirit that you're just like, I want to do this, I want to do that. And if I don't do this, I won't feel satisfied, and then your yesterday. What is it about your yesterday that, can empower you, because the things that happened in your yesterday are not things, are not things that are bad. They had to happen for you to be here today, albeit how you feel about the experience. And so we then went to leveraging people and resources, and we're talking about praise and roast. So we did praise last week. We said we were going to do roast.
So you want to remind us about what praise is? I mean, those are tactical skills to surviving in the third world economy. Because, I mean, when you work in the third world, you need to understand the rules of engagement.
Yes.
And so we started talking about praise, that P is praise your boss.
Yes.
And R is readily respond respectfully. Okay.
Yes.
Then A is acknowledge the inputs and impacts, even when there is none. Okay, that's very tough for you, but
that was like, I'm like, so I need to pretend to be something that I'm not, enjoying something I'm not enjoying.
Well,
with who I'm not enjoying.
But you're a TV producer. I mean, you understand what it means to get into character.
I know.
So you have to get into character depending on you, or depending on who you're with. I is interview the person, and S is solve their problem with speed and smile, and E is exceed their expectation. So there is what you must not do. Which is don't reveal their weakness, because access will show you the good, the bad, and the ugly.
Yes.
And that's something people can manage effectively. So you're a mentee, you want to learn something from your mentor. As you get close, because what your mentor gives you is a gift of access.
Yes.
Once you gain access, you will see the good, the bad, and the ugly. Yeah. None is perfect, but oftentimes the mistake people make is they forget what they came to do and they focus on the imperfection of their mentor.
Right.
And that kills a relationship, because you must be able to manage that. And that's why a lot of people are weary of giving access, because they know that many people can handle that. So don't reveal their weakness, very key. Then don't overshadow your boss, very key. I mean, it's one of the rules of power, that don't ever overshadow the master. To say, even when you think you're the one doing all the work, and the people around you know that you're the one doing all the work, give credit to your boss. Every opportunity to present, I want to thank. I mean, you see people do it all the time. You see the musicians do it. You see even the pastors do it. I thanked my general overseer for giving me the mic, for giving me the stage. I mean, it's a standard protocol in Africa. If you don't do it abroad, nobody cares, but you have to do it here. So don't overshadow your boss. Then the A there is what's the A now? Don't antagonize your boss.
Okay.
Yeah, very key. Because a lot of us don't know that not many African leaders are secure. So when you're in a meeting with them and you have a contrary position, you pass a note to them.
Right.
You say, this is what I think. Not that you openly antagonize them, because they hate being made to look like a fool. Right? Then the S there is don't sentence your boss. and I'll explain that to you.
Please.
Sometimes you're sitting down and people come to meet you to say to you, don't you think your boss is just stupid? They're waiting to get what you have to say. I say to people that you cannot be arrested for what you are thinking, but you can be prosecuted for what you have said.
Yes,
so you need to be careful. Be slow to speak, quick to hear. In fact, you can be deaf and dumb. So because you are not sure whether it's the boss who has sent them to know exactly what you feel about him. Now, I love the way I think it's King Solomon, who says that do not curse a king in the corner of your bedroom, because the birds of the air can carry it to him.
So the walls have ears.
Have ears. So you need to be very careful, to ensure that you do not sentence your boss. Even me. I didn't know that I was the only one who's feeling that way. You don't always have to have an opinion on every matter. There are matters they bring to you. You would say no opinion. I have no opinion about it. So that's the S. Then the T is don't never take your boss for granted. You must never take him for granted, because oftentimes knowledge can so puff you up that you think that you know it all. Forgetting that if you knew it all, you would be where he is.
Yes.
There is something he knows that you need. And because I say to people that your boss has access to the king, you don't have access to the king. In fact, I tell people that you can determine your appraisal before the appraisal time comes, if you understand how to manage this. Because if you become your favorite, you're the favorite mentee to your boss, the favorite problem solver, you would realize that your boss will, whatever I sent you to do is most likely is mumu button, once you rent a space in his mind, you get away with a lot of things, right? So you need to focus on the goal. The goal is not to fraternize with your colleagues. The goal is to get things done, right? And whatever you need to do to get it done, you need to find out what is the rules of engagement here. Because remember, I talked about territorial principles, that in your territory, you are the king. In another person's territory, you are the subject.
Absolutely.
So you cannot use your own rules in another person's territory. You need to navigate the rules of engagement. It's called the landline principle. You need to find out what works here. If you go to the UK without your boss pass, without what's this thing called? Oyster card, there are places you will not be able to go to except you drive. But in Nigeria, you don't. Your Oyster card is very useless.
Yes.
Give it to the Danfo driver.
Absolutely.
Give it to the BRT.
Is this money?
You'll be beaten with your Oyster card and whatever. You don't feel offended. If you have bothered a Nigerian boss before, the bus conductor doesn't even ask you, give me the money. I don't know if it has changed right now, but what you hear is yes. And everybody understands yes.
Payment.
You begin to pay, but the rule is
all
different.
those things hope you have changed.
The rule is different elsewhere. So the problem people have, especially people who are very blunt, upright, forthright, is that they cannot understand why they need to bend their rules, for
someone else.
They would rather resign.
Yes.
But when you resign, the question is, have you achieved your purpose? Because if you keep resigning in Africa, you realize that someone who is less competent is going to take your job anyway. And when he takes your job, he's not going to get it done. So it's the rules of engagement. So, for example, one of the things that can frustrate you the most is you want to do something for government and they're telling you to mark up the price. It becomes very tough to say, what do I need to do in this situation? So you need to understand the rules of engagement and learn how to navigate, that rule.
I was going to put you on the spot.
Yes.
I won't put you on the spot.
Put me on the spot.
Because I was going to say, okay, let me take you up on that. So when you get to a point where they say, okay, this is, you take your bill and they ask you to mark up the bill. I don't want to now say, is it right or wrong? Is it moral to do that? And then if it's something that is against your principles and your values, should you then go ahead and do it?
So the first thing, before now I will walk away. Now I wouldn't walk away. And I'll tell you this. So let's take a practical case. Ibadan, Lagos Expressway. They've awarded that contract over and over and over and over again. It's never been done. Now you are called to say, we know you are the one that can build it. How much will it cost? And you bid it for 20 billion. You say, we'll finish it. You were so sure. And they say, mark it up. Right? I'm not going to mark it up. But if that is what you want, can you take the job and outsource it to me and pay me the 20 billion, right? Because I know you want to make money, and without you making money, you're not going to award this contract. So you take the job for your company, outsource it to my company, right?
And
so
let me do the
what
job.
my invoice will read is the 20 billion, right? So it's win-win for both of us.
Right.
And then I will do a job built to last.
Right.
Do you understand?
Right.
Because the first thing is you walk away, but there's a wisdom around everything. So you need to understand that how do I navigate the situation in a way that, in fact, right now in my organization, we already have in our policy that 20% of whatever we're doing is a finder's fee. It's in our policy. So it's not, because let me tell you, they call it kickback in Nigeria. Is it gerrymandering? They call it in America, you know, but it didn't sound like corruption, but it's still the same thing.
Yeah.
You lobby.
Oh, not corruption.
You get. So you need to understand the rules of engagement and say, hey, I mean, God could have, I mean, for those of us who are Christians, God could have just done abracadabra, you know, and saved the world. But He knew a child had to be born, you know, so it's life is not always right and wrong, right? When you are in a situation, you need to find out what do we need to do, because if life is right and wrong, then it was wrong for Jesus to be killed, because He didn't sin from what we read, so why should He be killed? Why do you make Him a ritual killing or something like that? You know, so again, what must deliver the job? So what I would think of, because when it comes to the human angle, there are times to suspend right and wrong, because I would look at it and say, how many deaths has occurred on that land? Because if I don't do this job, they will still award the contract.
To
It
someone
will
else
still
who
not be
won't
done.
do it.
More
Yes.
people will die
Right.
on that road.
Right.
So what is the cost? So this is it. You get a job, give me my 20 billion, I'm going to build this, you know, and I'm going to ensure that it's well done. You know, so
What if they say don't build it properly because we want to give this contract to someone
no,
else?
they won't tell me not. Yeah, I won't even tell them I'll build it properly.
Okay.
You know, but you know the funny thing, many years ago, I was talking to someone and they were doing a research. They realized that, you know, every time Lagos builds a road, in no time the road becomes, apart from the fact that they don't build the road properly, they also found out that the association of those that sell in traffic.
Oh yes, they damage the roads as well.
No, they now go and contract the job. Right. There is a association of people that dig potholes.
Right.
They gather money and contract the digging of potholes.
So that they can award the contract
again. No, you don't get it. The people that sell chips, that sell gala, that sell all those things.
They pay.
They pay
these people to come and mess
up the road
so that
for traffic.
Wait.
To happen for them,
so
you can see the entire value chain of that.
It's a value chain. It's a value chain.
You
so
get.
Even if this is not even the government.
So you do the road today, the road is bad tomorrow.
Right.
You know, so you see, I mean, all these things are happening. So what you want to do is to build something that would last. You know, because in the midst of the corruption way back, Awolowo did some fantastic stuff. He built some fantastic structure which is still standing. You know, so you need to understand, and I say to people, I think where a lot of righteous or upright people, that's if they are, you know, miss it, is they keep thinking Nigeria is Israel or Nigeria is heaven. No, Nigeria is the closest to Nigeria is like Sodom or Babylon. You know, so you need to understand that within the context of Babylon, there are rules of engagement. So if you check in the kingdom of Persia, for you to become a wife to the king, you need to spend one night with the king, which is equivalent of one night stand. Right?
This is just...
Well, I'm not quoting anything. I'm just saying.
Yes,
I'm just saying.
that's what normally happens, right?
It's one night with the king. It's one night stand. You got to do it. If you are not
the fact
eligible,
that I spend a night with you doesn't mean that we're doing nothing.
Well, we were praying and we
could have been
worshiping,
strategizing.
and you pleased me.
We could have been. I could have given you an idea that blew your mind out.
And you pleased me all through the night.
Yes.
And it must be done at night, right?
Yes.
Not in the daytime.
Because he's busy during the day.
Okay.
He's handling.
So now Sabi, but. They really whatever meaning you want. Daniel is laughing. Okay, but you know what it is, right? So that's the rules of engagement in that place, right? But that couldn't have happened in Israel, for example. So you need to understand rules of engagement, you know, to say, hey, and if you, even when you read the Bible, Abraham would get to a place and he would tell his wife
to
pretend that you are my
sister.
He said, because this is the rules of engagement.
They'll kill me
Here, you know. So everyone needs to understand that.
Oh, that's good. That's a good one.
Wherever you get to, you need to first find out what is the rules of engagement here. If you don't, and a lot of good people have missed out consistently by not understanding that. So take Nigeria, for example, take the political landscape. Good people will say, I cannot join APC, I cannot join PDP. You see, it's like saying you cannot join Democrats and you don't want to be a Republican in America, but you want to be president like Kanye West. You know, you will end up
someone else, but it's okay.
You will end up where you become a joke, a joke. Okay, you know. So Daniel, thank you. Nothing means anything except the meaning you gave it.
Yes, my brother.
So you need to understand that you first humble yourself. I mean, I learned this practically in Nigeria, Nigerian political space. I joined the party and I went for their meeting, their ward meeting. I met all these people with big belly.
Of course.
They couldn't speak English. They couldn't write. As I got there, they said, Alakowe has come. They gave me minutes to be writing.
Yeah, you should be writing.
You know,
with
so
your glasses.
I told my friend, I said, look at this caliber of people leading things, you know, look at their belly. But they were also telling themselves, you know, and every time I went, the discussion they were having did not make sense to me. You know, I couldn't contribute because they were based too low. Right? After about 2 months, I stopped going. You know, because I just became frustrated. It was a year later, one of them saw me on the road. He said, Alakowe, you didn't come to the meeting again. So I said, no, I was just upset. He now said to me that usually when we see a strange person, we have those kind of discussion to discourage them from coming. Because the available person, the most available person is the one that gets the chance to become a candidate. So he said those discussions were intentional
to frustrate you
out of there. And that was exactly what happened.
Wow.
So I learned that sometimes, that was when I learned that sometimes you need to sit in the midst of ignorance and allow the mediocrity to torment your excellence without responding. Just be enjoying the mediocrity.
And just chill.
Yeah. I mean,
and they say, what do you think? Oh, I don't think so. Everything
nobody
is okay.
will teach you this in any school. But this is what it is in politics in Nigeria. You can't invent your own rules. You can't bring in your own rule. You can't export it. No. And except you have money to set up words, to set up, and you don't have that luxury. Do you understand? So for people to assume that, for example, you want to take over and you're not thinking of the area boys, you're just fooling yourself. So it's the rules of it. It is what it is. You can't pray it away. You can't wish it away. You can't call angels down to go and vote on your behalf. You need to play by this rule. Right? And this rule has been invented before you were born.
Yes.
So
and
you
laugh.
And by playing by the rule, that the owners of the power now trust you. By the time they must not see you coming, you must look like a fool to them, that when they now give you power, you can now change things. But without you having power,
you can't do anything.
It's just suicide.
Okay, so so we now know about praise and roast, guys, and knowing the rules of engagement in whatever place you find yourself. Let's talk about, and so that's about leveraging people and resources. Now what's the roadmap to power? What's the routines or the rituals? What do we need to do aside? Okay, so now we know that we need to first of all find out what the rules of engagement is when you get to wherever you're going to be able to get some of your power back. What's the next thing? So what's now the roadmap? Okay, so now having done your API, you are now clear. Now you need to understand that roadmap is basically plotting, where you want to be. Now, a whole lot of people, there is no congruence within them, and that's where they miss it. Their mouth and their leg, two
different places. So that's where we use that triangle of life to say, what result do I want? What must I do? So it's like gymming. I want 6-pack, but I'm eating a bowl of eba. I'm not exercising. I'm not gymming.
You can eat a bowl of eba and still have your 6-pack.
You won't get your 6-pack if you don't gym. You will not get your 6-pack. Right? You are not carrying anything. You just do a bowl of eba. You're now confessing. I have 6-pack. I have 6-pack. By the special grace of God, I have 6-pack. Hey, I can do all things through Christ. You are not going to get 6-pack. You are just going to get prayer pack. You understand what I mean? So people's action contradicts the result. So they don't have respect for the routine.
Right.
Because who you are becoming is even much more important than the result you want.
Right.
So a lot of people don't respect what they need to do to get what they want. Right? And you can't get into power if you don't have respect for your talent, which is what is residing in you. So there's a responsibility for your talent, right? Because talent is useless if it doesn't become skill. Skills are processed talent. So you need to process your talent for it to become marketable. Everybody can raise the ball. Not everyone can bend it like Beckham, right? So people need to understand this. So by the time you create a ritual, and please, you need to understand there's a concept called lifestyle, life plus style. To say, this is my life, this is the style. The style that will deliver my life is not the style that will deliver your last life, because your last life is not my life.
Absolutely.
The mistake we make is conformity. And that is the problem. That's the problem for people who speak, who said 7 steps. Your step may not be in the 7, right? So you need to say, okay, check yourself, assess yourself. What must I do? So a bad example, and I'm sorry to use this example, is Bobrisky. Bobrisky does not speak good English. Bobrisky does not, you know nothing about him. But Bobrisky wanted to become indispensable. And he maybe analyzed the market survey and realized that the only way to get you talking
is to be like this.
Is to cross-dress. And by cross-dressing, the whole nation knew about Bobrisky.
Absolutely.
Do you understand? Now, I can't do that, because if I do that, I mean, my constituency will wonder what's wrong with me. And it's not, his life is not my life. I'm not selling cosmetics. Right? So, the problem is the discipline that can deliver people's life.
We're not ready to do it.
We are not ready to do it.
Right.
So, many a time when people say this is what I want, they are fooling themselves because they are not ready to pay the price. Now, as long as you are not ready to pay the price, you come back to the first level, domestication. Remember, we talked about domestication, awareness, recreation, and freedom. So they are back to where their life is bound by the rules of man, and that will never take you anywhere. Right? Because the people you're afraid of or you want to please, they don't also care about you. So it's important for people to understand this. Like Martin Luther King Jr. said, 2 things you must do by yourself: you're believing and you're dying. Nobody can do it for you. So you need to believe what you believe, be sure about what you believe, more than everyone. And remember, you and I were having a discussion, was it on Monday? And I was sharing with you, like, the Bible said that he that believes in me, the works that I do, he will do, and greater works shall we do.
Absolutely.
That's what English Bible says. But that's not what the original says. The original Bible says, original Hebrew says, Greek says, he that believes as I believe and think what I think will produce my result and produce bigger result.
Right.
Totally different from the first one.
Yes.
So that your belief, you can stay today and believe that you are the greatest to have happened to the world. If you believe it long enough, in fact, I tell people, lie to yourself. Believe it long enough, you begin to produce the material equivalent. Then if you say it loud enough, people, it's like Shakosha. When you give the I am Shakosha, everybody will start calling you Shakosha, 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 Shakosha.
Like Guru Maharaji,
Yeah.
everybody start calling
Everybody
him
will
Guru,
start calling you that. Say, that's Shakosha, that's a blonde love doctor coming. You know, it's what you, if you insist on it consistently.
On being
so,
called it.
repetition is the mother of all skills.
Yeah.
And a lot of people don't, and because
We
repetition
don't have the staying power.
is monotonous, actually.
and it's
tough.
every day. You must be
Because
committed.
you need to do it over and over again
yeah.
till it becomes a
In
part
fact,
of you.
I was hearing that now for a habit to stick, you almost have to, it will take you about 66 to 67
It's
days.
about 60, yeah, it used to be.
There was a time it used to be 3 weeks.
It used to be 21 days actually, but
So
now
was-
it's about 60
and
days.
now it's 67 days for
thereabout.
something to stick.
Yeah.
So that means that I need to be able to do this thing for at least 67
But you
days.
know the interesting thing is that what has messed you up, is also a habit you are doing every day, unconsciously.
Yeah.
You are doing something,
Yeah, something is controlling
but
you.
what you are doing is sabotaging your best interest.
Right.
So, and why? So I saw someone tweet today, and he said, "What do you do? How do you help someone who started gymming and relax? How do you start again?" And
Just get up.
Just get up and start.
And go back
but
to
you
the
see,
gym.
I know why the person could, because they've attached pain to getting up. There's a pleasure that you need to attach to it. So when you see the body shape, you see yourself bouncing, right? They won't teach you before you.
Well, I say that I'm a sexy goddess. You know.
Do you understand? So people don't,
Alluring, actually.
so it's important for people to attach pleasure. So, and also what I said to people is that in case you can't do it on your own,
seek for help.
Seek for help, belong to a group.
And also have accountability partners.
That's the essence of the group.
Yes.
So with accountability partner, you now say, these are the secrets of your future is in your daily routine according to John C. Maxwell. This is what I want to do. Because if you do it long enough, you'll get where you need to get to.
Absolutely.
Very, very easy.
I totally agree.
Yeah.
I totally agree. I mean, I also didn't know that, or I used to also think that routines were boring and monotonous. And sometimes, okay, I'll start something, okay, yeah, let's do something. By the third day, fourth day, I'm like, oh, peace,
Everybody has a routine.
You know, and then, yeah, but exactly. So the routine that I would rather do is what I was familiar with.
Yeah, so if you are overblown in your weight, there's a routine that got you there.
Absolutely.
There's a routine, there's a pattern to your eating.
And a mindset.
And pattern are the predictors of your future. So the root to power is actually your belief. Very key. Right? That when people talk sometimes, I ask them, whose belief is this? Because what they are saying is not their belief. It's what someone they respected said. That they are not fast found.
A lot of times we're like that.
But
we're controlled by
you
something
need to
or
question
someone.
things. You need to now make it your belief and sink it in, be immersed in it, such that it now becomes your belief. Right? So you need to get to that point where your belief is yours. And your belief become a conviction that nobody can talk you out of it. That the whole world gathered together, right? I mean, I was working with a lady, and the lady, very pretty lady, but she didn't believe in herself. So I asked her, I said, if I mentioned like 5 pastors, and I said, if they say you're ugly, what will be your response? Say, I will believe I'm ugly. I said, why? Say, maybe God has shown them that I'm actually ugly.
Wow.
An average person believes in the opinion of the person they respect more than their own opinion about themselves.
Isn't that also because we don't know how? Today I was with a friend of mine that I haven't seen in a while, and you know, I was asking him, how you doing? And he says, oh, you know, things are, you know, picking up, blah blah blah, or slow actually. So I said, you actually look really good. You know, you look very fresh and calm. And he was like, sis, please stop trying to psych me. I'm like, I'm not trying to psych you. I'm telling you what I'm seeing.
You're saying it.
And you look really good.
He's not saying that.
Yeah, he's not saying that. And so
that.
what I'm saying, but I also used to be in that place where you say to me, your skin is flawless. I'm like, really? Or you say you're looking beautiful. I'm like, is this guy seeing, are they seeing what they are really seeing?
It's,
you know, but now, before you even tell me that I'm fine, I'll tell you, can you see how hot I'm looking today?
It's a way, you know, if you're listening to us, one of the things, okay, someone is saying, is your belief system linked to your religious teachings? And what is this? And doctrines? Yes, your doctrines and your religious leanings can become your belief. It can become, in fact, it can define.
Absolutely. Remember
that your parents did not ask the right question when you were born. They did not.
They didn't say what is the role of this
the role
child
of parenting in ages 0 to 3 is observation.
Yeah.
Right? And their role is to scout you out. They didn't do that. They just loaded your brain with all kinds of things. They took you to a place and they dedicated you. Nobody has what you should be. Right? So they loaded your brain, and that is why.
I don't know what they did to Samson.
Yeah.
Before Samson was born, the parents said, what is his role on earth?
And a lot of people will never recover from that, because, I mean, so I'm working with a number of people who are doing incredibly well.
Mrs. Oloyede says that's why they say ignorance is bliss.
Yeah. A lot of people are doing so well. I mean, they're doing so well. They're doing so much work for humanity. But they don't see it as something they should make money from. Because in their mind, they say
they're not meant to collect money from help.
So who is a doctor not helping? Is a lawyer not helping? Is the person that sells pepper, is she not helping? You know, in every labor there's profit. So they do it for free, forgetting that there's nothing free. Someone is paying for it. So there is someone in their life funding,
who is funding
it. And if you take that person away, then their brain wakes up. You know, so, and it's conditioning. So the interpreter, religion is not only bad. The interpreters of religion, you know, and somehow the problem, and they are not even the problem, because they are also victims of what they were taught. So your belief can totally be messed up, and that's why we need to begin to ask questions that, how come the top 10 richest people in the world and people, no, they're not just Christian and not religious people. It's not about Christian or Muslim now. And
they're eliminating problems
they are eliminating
of the entire world.
Is there a possibility
I was watching one guy, Najim something, I can't remember his name. He's going to the moon.
Is there a possibility that God cannot even use you to the fullest if you subscribe to a particular religion because it can mess you up. It's a question.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that's what I believe.
Food for thought.
Food for thought.
Yeah.
Because if God gives me Facebook, am I likely to allow Muslims use it?
Everybody will use it.
I'm just saying, if I have a religious belief.
Okay, if you are stuck, you
I'm not going to say, oh.
No, it's only my people.
Or my people use it for free. Their own people pay for it. But you cannot, which is going to the third thing there, which is the love. So if your mind cannot accommodate, there's a way my friend does it. Fisaya will just come to class and Fisaya will say, oh, there was a terrible earthquake in Japan yesterday. 200 people died. He said, how do you feel? And people in class say they don't feel anything. He said, there's no love in your heart. He said, and
because they're not connected to
you.
Yes.
And he said, if you don't feel anything, then you may not even be able to innovate anything that they can use because there's no love for them. Right? But let's take 70% of your business external is there. And you say 200 people. Wherever your treasure is,
that's where your heart
that's
is.
where your heart is. So when there is love in your heart, and that's why if you check all the top companies in the world now, check their mission statement, you will see the element of love. Google says that our mission is to organize the world's information and make it available at a click. Right? There is nothing about Google there. Right? Walmart says we will make available to the poor the rich can afford. Right? They are not talking about biggest, the largest, that's what we talk about. There is no love. The most impactful, the largest party in Africa, the blah 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 blah. There's no love. So you even check Starbucks. Starbucks, you will not find coffee in their mission statement. Right? They would say to refresh the world one cup at a time. So it's about love. Love. When there is no love in your heart, you can't reach humanity. Because you will categorize people. You will say, this person is not my person. Yeah. So when people need help sometimes, you see the questions we ask. So let's say someone needs help and he comes to meet us. You say, what church do you attend?
When people ask me that question, I'm like, what does church have to do with
Are you a
anything?
Christian or a Muslim?
Yeah.
Do you attend this church? Then when you say, okay, I attend this church, what department are you? So what you are saying is, I am not qualified for your help until I join a department. Right? It's like God saying you are not qualified for my help
blessings
until you do certain things.
As if God has a
and we have created those things. You need to roll on the floor. You need to do this. You need to do that. And many of the funny things we need to do. So it's important for you to check the state of your heart. Right? To say, is there love in my heart? Because it's not enough to blame people that abuse you. Do you have love in your heart for humanity? Can God entrust the cure to cancer to you? Will you release it willingly to everybody, or you will keep thinking about, and that's what I think all the time. So people ask me, Praise, you do some classes for free and you are giving everything away. I said,
there's more where that
there is a lot more. In fact, the law of life is increased response to use. If you don't use it, it will not be increased. And you become a better teacher when you teach what you know.
Yes, absolutely. Right? Because you're teaching and you're also
people will tell me, and all the people put pricing on everything, they're still not balanced. Right? So you need to understand the thinking. But God is not a waster of resources. He won't just look at Mark Zuckerberg and say, let us give him Facebook. He's so sure that this guy would use it for humanity. It's not stupid to have given Bill Gates Microsoft. He was so sure of what he's going to do with it, right? And the reason he has not given some people is because you are thinking about sects, you are thinking about group, you are thinking about your tribe, you are thinking about your nation, you are thinking about, those are the smallness of your mind. The moment you begin to think about humanity, for God so loved the world, the systems, you begin to think about humanity, your heart expands. Fisher calls it heart failure. That if your heart can no longer pump blood to all the parts of the body, there's heart failure. So he said many of us, we are human, we are less than human because the ideas in our heart cannot serve the entire human race. So it cannot pump cannot pump blood to everyone. And it must be every. Through you, all the families of the heart, whether gay, whether straight, whether echoes, black or white, and that is the test many people fail. If there is no love in your heart, you can't help humanity and you can't even heal sustainably because one, there is no love for you in you.
Absolutely.
And there's no love for it because
For
you will
you,
now
for
project
others
you
in
will now
you.
project your hate for you on others.
On others, absolutely.
Because you will
You can't give what you don't
treat
have.
people to the extent to which you treat yourself.
Yep.
Right? So healing
Yep.
is the route people now needs to go to say, let me heal. And love is so powerful that the moment you embrace love, judgment leaves you.
Yeah.
Criticism leaves you. You now
Labels.
you visualize, you labels leave you. Religion leaves you. You now begin to look at everyone through the eyes of humanity, of man made in God's image. So they deserve your help because they have nose, eyes like you, they look like you, irrespective of their religious belief. Right? It's tough, but when you live at that plane, creativity is optimum. A whole lot of new things come to you. Then your power is actually unleashed.
Well, I think also, I mean, another, well, there's a lot. So we started, well, I'll come back to what I was going to say. Well, we started talking about routines and rituals. And the first thing we talked about was the triangle of life. So your results, who you need to be, and your current beliefs or current situation. What other rituals or routines do we need to? I mean, I have quite a number that I do. I could share, and then also you can talk about.
I mean, you can share yours, but I tell people, have your morning routine, your waking up routine, have your work routine. You need to plan your life, have your relaxation routine. You know, because if you don't plan your life, don't live from without to within. Live from within to without, because that's the future. Yeah, that's the level of recreation. So it's no longer what is happening. So people ask me, how are you able to calm down with all the bad driving in Lagos? I said, because you know, they create fun for me. So I'm not moved by what happens from without. I live by within me. So I can be with you and I'm not with you. I can be somewhere and I'm tuned to another frequency. You know, so, but one of the things I think Nigerians must begin to learn, or Africans, is how to be quiet. Stillness.
Yeah.
And how to meditate.
Yeah.
Is something that we are never able. We are too noisy.
It's not in our culture. They didn't teach us. What they taught was a hustle.
I can't remember. I can't even remember the last time that I prayed and I made a lot of noise.
I don't even make noise anymore. I didn't really used to make noise when I used to pray, but now I do more even stillness and quietness and I just share my heart. You know, first of all, I mean, it's space of absolute gratitude. I know my mom is listening to this, and so sometimes I self-hypnotize, you know, and I just get myself, I'm breathing, I focus on something, and then I go, and I'm in a beautiful space, and sometimes I'm there for an hour at night, you know, before I go to sleep. I that's my detox routine. How if the day didn't go the way I wanted it to go, I recreate the day that I wanted to see, and then start to just stay in a space of gratitude.
You know, the mistake people make is, when they say there are some prayers you need to pray and shout. No, it's not wrong. But what they don't know is that entire process of shouting is vibration that they are creating. But you don't need to shout to create that vibration. That's what people don't know.
Yes.
Because
in fact, I even feel like there's even more.
What you want is power, isn't it? Now, where the word of the king is, there is power.
Absolutely.
Now, so if I hired you and I am your boss,
and you pay me, but
let's
keep going.
And I want to fire you.
Yes.
And I whisper to you, Diola, and I say, you are fired. Are you fired?
Of course. It's the same thing now.
I don't.
Or you just write it down.
And just write it.
Without people saying one word.
You are fired.
Yes.
That's the end.
Yes.
But what we do is,
you are fired.
You are fired. It's lack of power. Because the people who truly have power don't shout.
But that's also, you know, that's also the child in you. We're throwing tantrums.
Yeah.
You know, so that's, we don't know how to
because we are used to controlling Shango, Ogun, and shouting. You know, so we think that's the way it is with God. You know, and there's nothing wrong with if you shout. Sorry, we're not saying don't shout or don't scream.
Keep shouting.
I have done that a number of times before. But I realize I take more value because it's communication, communion with divine power right now. I gain more value in silence, in stillness, right? In gratitude. In fact, my gratitude is quiet, but it's louder than many shouts. You know, because that's the highest level of vibration.
Absolutely.
You see through yourself, through
Absolutely.
everything, and the quality of thoughts that come to you is
mind-blowing.
and that's why I tell people who are hurting. This person hurts me, that person hurts me. In the midst of the hurt, there are things to be grateful for.
Absolutely. There's at least
Until
one
you
thing.
find those
Heighten
things.
it. Heighten that one thing.
Yeah.
Just sit down there.
Because what you have done is you have exaggerated the bad actually.
Yes.
And made it look like there is nothing good.
And it will keep repeating itself in your life because
so
you're putting power.
what you now need is exaggerate the good.
Yeah.
To say, and that's why someone that I used to be very close to all just decided not to communicate with me anymore. Right? And
it's complete.
I was gonna feel a bit bad, but I had to quickly snap out of it to say, no, maybe this relationship is all complete. She's done it. So what I did was the good she did to me, right? I focused, meditated on it, right? So every time a name is mentioned, it's the good I remember.
Yeah.
I don't remember any other thing, you know. And that is because your
For you,
happiness
it's
is yours.
Yes.
It's about you. It's not about the other person.
Yes.
So someone says that being sad is like taking poison for
I'm waiting for the other person to die.
To die.
Or forgiveness, not forgiving.
Unforgiveness, you know.
Yes.
So it's important for you. Someone has a question. What do you think about talking to yourself?
Well,
Powerful.
I think is a powerful thing. I don't know about. I mean, you know, it's so funny because some of these things I used to think were demonic before.
No.
But it's so powerful. It's so liberating. It's just something because you're expecting someone else to do these things for you, but nobody will because they're also facing their own problems.
Let me even shock you. In every human being, there's a feminine and a masculine side to you,
Yes.
right? So you can actually romance yourself
Of
and
course.
fall in love with yourself. It's not taught in the public square,
But that's what you're looking for.
It's
you
something
know?
you need. It's so powerful
Yes.
that you can sit down and talk. Because when you talk to yourself enough, right?
You start believing in
you
yourself.
have filled your own emotional bank account by. So it's like what has happened is this. What the typical human being do. This is the best way to describe it.
I'll share my own with you.
You have a
Hold on.
bank account,
Yes.
right?
You're putting money.
You are doing business with other people. You are expecting them to transfer money and make deposit, right? They are not making the deposit at the time they have to make the maybe due to emotion or they don't have enough money and blah 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 blah. That's what is happening. Your account will be in red,
empty.
but you have wealth. You have money stacked at home. What you need to do is for your account to read well.
You start to be depositing
Money by yourself. That's what we fail to do. So we expect my spouse has not said I love you. My friend has not said I love you.
Tell yourself. You know, I do mirror work. I mean, I'm sorry guys, me, I'm radical.
Go ahead.
I may talk, you may be wondering what's going on here. I do mirror work. I stand in front of my mirror and I say, Adiola, what I love about you is, Adiola, what I like about you is, Adiola, what I admire about you is, Adiola, I acknowledge you for, Adiola, I thank you for your resilience. Adiola, you are beautiful, you're enough, you're confident. I mean, like, I go into that rampage of healing myself. And I don't need anybody. So now, before I used to freak out that I'm leaving the house, you're not even telling me I'm fine. I don't need you to tell me I'm fine anymore. Because I've told myself so many times that what if you say it, I'll be like, oh, thank you.
Oh, yeah.
But it no longer bothers me, you know, and it's something that you can do. It's something that you totally can do.
I think Buki is saying something. This is why they say, okay,
Yeah.
I think I've seen that.
So it's something that you can do. Don't wait for anybody to fill your cup up because it's like waiting for Godot.
People have been conditioned to find happiness in other people.
know,
you know,
I
so
know.
you hear things like, when was the last time you said I love you?
When was the last time you took you? You know what? I used to say to people that I go to the cinema myself and I watch 3 films by myself one day.
I watch movies every day.
I'll catch the 11 o'clock one or 10:30, catch the 1 o'clock one, catch it by 5:30. I'm okay, and I will cry by myself, laugh by myself, sleep inside the cinema. I will buy biscuit, I'll hide it inside my bag, popcorn. You know, because by the time you come out, I'm feeling refreshed. I've had such a wonderful time, and it's time for me to go home and continue my day.
She's saying, yeah, that is affirmation, isn't it? Well, it's not affirmation,
Not really.
as it were, because affirmation is another level.
Yeah.
But this is self-talk.
Yeah.
Right? self-talk is, I mean, it's so powerful because you want to determine your own auto-suggestion by yourself. Yeah, affirmation is a good place to start, but a lot of people are not listening with affirmation. In fact, there is self-talk, there is affirmation, there is incantation, right?
And there's scripting.
Incantation is consistent repetition at a higher vibration level that produces a magical effect.
Yeah.
Right. So a lot of people, because
Like
when you do
Jasmine.
confession and affirmation, you can get distracted. With incantation, your whole body and energy is totally involved. So yes, you can do that for yourself. I mean, like gisting with yourself. Why? Yeah. So you're right. Yeah, self gist. You can call it that. So it's something you need to do for yourself. Nobody should do it for you.
It's just like it's like a visual or a mental or it's like you're having pictures, right? So rather than just keeping the pictures,
Like
you're
soliloquizing.
talking about it.
Yeah.
You know, or you're writing about it. I find so much peace now.
In fact, one of the things you can do, I say that
now.
to my clients, you know, open a sheet of paper every time you feel down. Look for 50 positive words. Just use different pens, blue, red, yellow, green to write, right? Pick another shade. Every time you do that, go back to it and just stare at the positive words. There is something it communicates to your mind, and there's the bliss you feel when you do that.
Well, I have something also that I do. I've written out about 67 different words that resonate with me, and every day I pick one word and I talk about it. So today my word was loyalty. For today, yesterday was commitment.
Fantastic.
And every day I just talk about how committed I am to myself and what I'm committed
Life
to. And
is intentional. That's what you're doing. Life is intentional.
Doing that. And what are you grateful for?
She's saying, "Thank God I am not going mad."
You are not going mad.
There's nothing wrong with you.
If it's something you need to do, please do it for yourself, because it doesn't matter what other people think. You know, really.
Deola, we have 7 minutes to
go. All right. So, so some of the routines and rituals. So, is affirmations, is asking yourself what you need to be or
power
who you
walk.
need to be.
Power walk is good as well. You know, you take a walk.
Dance if you like.
Dance is also good. I used the power walk dance in Robin's taught many years ago. It says you take 4 deep breaths, then you do 4 breath out. So something like.
Okay.
You do that for 10 minutes, then you change the breath out into mind out. So it now becomes I am lovely, or I am bigger. You know, you do that for 5 minutes, thereabouts. So if you do that, you pace up.
There's another breath work that I do, which is
okay.
And if you do it for 1 minute, the peace you feel in you is amazing.
Because the thing is, you want to sort that within you,
out.
you know, out. You know, so you can do that. You can write your affirmation, or you can. If you write your affirmation, you can voice it into your phone, and listen to it every day, right? Remember that nobody can create the life you want for you. You have to create it. No matter what anybody has promised you. Go for any meeting. We will make you happy. You will, It's not going to happen until you take responsibilities for your life. You know, you know, our world needs more happy people. That's what I
think so.
Yeah.
You know, today I was in an Uber, and the guy we're talking about just, you know, how to make yourself happy. And when I finished talking to him, he said, you know, you're actually very correct. I even sent him the link to the show that he should listen to it, you know. And he said, what's the show about? I said, look, we're just trying to make people just relax, you know, happier, hopefully, and giving people a reason to breathe again, you know. And there's too much happening, you know, and it's so quick for us to say it's someone else's fault, rather than taking responsibility for the things that are happening to us. So, and I was going to say that another thing that you can also do to get your power back, especially for people who are tied down or feel like if they go, who's going to help them? There are different things that you can do for as a person. One, of course, finding you're happy in your purpose. You should be able to see something that you really love doing. Maybe you can start to invest in it. Maybe you can learn a trade. Then you can also learn to be a trader or an investor. There are different options, you know. And you may think that, I will now spend, how much do I need to be able to be a trader, or you know, you don't need that much money. You can if you only have $10, you can invest and start with that, and then build your portfolio and keep going. Now, if you want any information about that, you can reach out to us later and I can share some information. However, you need to be able to say, okay, there's so many things. I was telling somebody today, imagine somebody saying, okay, they come to my doorstep or decide on their street, they'll knock on every gate and say, do you have clothes for me? Let me wash them and iron them. I said, before you know it, rather than sitting down and say, life hates me, God hates me, people hate me, you get up and create something for yourself, and then you now have 10 houses that you can iron their clothes and wash their clothes. And before you know it, you can grow into 20 houses.
Yeah.
Before you know it, 30 houses. Before you know it, by the time you know it, you are a big business.
A lot is possible. I mean, it depends on how we say it. Like you and I learned in one of our meetings that during COVID, people have bought more houses.
Of course.
Than before
COVID.
And somebody will say there's no money.
There's no money. Even till now, some people are saying there's no
So
money.
it depends on what you see. I mean, opportunities abound all around us. But it starts from your inner work, you know, because once there is no congruence within you, or there is hell within you, it will show in everything, right? But you know, it's your responsibility to create and insist on the heaven within you, and don't trade your peace for anything. If you're in a place, if you're in a place where your peace is being trampled on, or they don't believe you deserve the peace, you have a right to leave that environment, no matter the emotional attachment you have to the group or to the, every time you go and you have to complain and you have to go back to cry and you've done everything, please, you need to protect your mental wellness and create your space. And if you are in a marriage and you think your spouse is messing with your mind, you can take your power back. Because people think that you have to keep your spouse happy for you to be happy. No, you need to keep you happy. So start dancing from tomorrow. Start jogging. Start throwing parties by yourself. The moment that person finds out that you are happy, regardless of what they are doing, and without them, it will begin to create attempt to begin to talk to you and maybe begin to negotiate with you. You know, we've tried this.
In fact, I'm actually thinking about doing this whole dance. You know, I dance every morning, at least 6 times a week, and so I'm thinking maybe I should start something and carry people along and see people should join me.
Why not? We can
and
join.
Let's do dancing every morning.
We can join you.
30 minutes.
If you pay me, I'll join.
You record yourself. I will post it on a group and just ginger ourselves.
Yeah, people can. People should. People should, and we deserve to. Everyone deserves to be happy. So whatever life has taken away from you, right? Remember that life didn't actually take anything away from you, right? Life just put you through a school, and what you bring out of the school is the most critical part. So you can take your power back. You can own your power. It's part of your journey. Embrace your shame, whatever it is, and know that you can fully heal. We will be here to support, to help you, and you know, whatever it is. Know that we are in here for you. Thank you everyone for joining the show today. Time fast, runs so fast.
When you're having fun.
When we're having fun. You know,
and we love you guys.
You want to say something to them before we go?
I want to say thank you for being a part of our journey and being with us every week. You could have been somewhere else, but you've chosen us, and so we celebrate you, and we are really appreciative of your time and your presence. You know, there's no us without you.
Without you.
So we thank you. Next week we're going to be talking about child abuse. And that hopefully will not last 7 weeks like this one has.
It won't last 7 weeks like this.
So we can keep it moving. And if there are things that you want us to talk about or share or questions you need to ask, please send us a message at Real Deep Convos on Facebook, Instagram, and you know, you can also send us emails as well.
And invite your friends to join us. You know, it's every Thursday, 7 p.m.
It's for everybody.
Yeah, everyone. We celebrate and we honor you. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Thank you, everyone. Instagram family. I love you. Celebrate you. Thanks for joining. See you next week, Thursday. Bye-bye.